In the following video, we will be generating a purchase invoice that the supplier has now sent to us. So to do so, we can select purchasing in the right list or left list. We will scroll down to invoices and click on invoice control. This will give us the entry transactions, and we will select all Akisa supervisor invoices. And now we can click and start a new invoice by selecting new from the right list. We'll see that an invoicing site will automatically default, but this can be changed by removing the invoicing site, clicking on the selection icon and selecting one of the sites below. We'll see that we need to enter an invoicing type by clicking on the selection icon. So from here we can manage if this is either an invoice that we are creating, an additional invoice, or if it is a credit memo that we are creating. So we will be doing either a credit, an additional invoice, or a supply invoice from the same screen. It is the invoicing type will drive the behavior of the specific invoice. So for this example, we will select INV, which is the supplier invoice. Once we've entered the invoicing type, we'll see that the accounting date will default to the current date you are doing the invoice on. It can tab to supplier, and we can click on the selection icon to select a supplier that we are generating an invoice for. So as from the supplier we selected, we can see that specific source and payment and management information is defaulted from the supplier set up within the system. So now we need to specify the specific receipt that we are going to invoice. So to do this, we can click on the Lines tab, and we'll see that there is no product or receipt number or order number currently selected. So we can look at the left list, we can navigate to the receipt selection bucket, and this will then, once we've selected it, all receipts that are for the invoicing site and supplier site combinations will be under the receipt selection. Then we can select our specific receipt by ticking the tick box, and we'll see that the source is from the receipt. We've got a receipting number. If we scroll to the right, we'll see that we've got our product. We've got the product description. We've got the quantity invoiced. We've got the net price, the currency, cost per unit, we've got our accounting, so the accounts that will be hit from this invoice, and then we can click create. So we need to enter the supplier document number, so the actual invoice that the supplier has given us will house a specific supplier invoice number that we can enter. Then we can click on create. Now in the right list we see that we cannot post this invoice yet, which means that the invoice has not been fully captured and verified. So to do this, we can go to the control tab. We can look at the taxes. So we see that our tax code no VAT has been defaulted, which means no tax applies for this product, and that we can see at the tax total section at the bottom. There are no tax amounts, so which means that the tax code setup is working perfectly to not allow for tax. So now that we have got the actual supplier document with us, we can now verify that the amount on that invoice is identical to the invoice number that is in the X3 as we have generated from the actual order from the price that the supplier gave us on the product. If we are happy with the invoice amount, we can enter the invoice amount from the document. Once you have done that and we tab, we'll see that the VAR minus tax portion zeroes out and there are no variances. If there was a variance, for instance, if we put, we'll see that there's still a variance amount. So once there are no variances and we click on save, now the posting will be able to be done on this specific invoice.